Okay, hello, hello, hello. I need to make sure. Oh, we go. That's what I need to do. Thank you, everyone, for coming in. Very, very excited. We are in the second episode of Revolutionary Tracks. We have the returning champ, Napoleon the Legend, but with Nejma Nefertiti. But I do want to introduce the partner in crime, Karthik. How are you doing today? Good to see you back.
Good to see you too, Marcus. I'm doing all right. I've probably heard the new album like three times over so far, and like I think that like it's pretty solid, and like it's taken me through the day pretty well, I have to say.
Yeah, and I mean, like, definitely, like I mean, doing a lot of Napoleon's work before. It's always good to listen to good music when I'm driving the car, playing video games, reading some articles, and everything like that. But enough about us. I want to first introduce Nejma Nefertiti, which I have been kind of blown away with a lot of your music within the past few months. And very, very excited to not only have you on, not only experience the album that you two did together, but also just to introduce you to our fans and everything like that.
I know
So
you're hoping and
thank you for
praying
coming
that
on.
maybe we'll have another war, but it ain't
Thank you
happening.
for having me. I'm really honored to be here, especially on a day like this. You know what I mean? It's really exciting. I appreciate y'all for real.
And Napoleon, welcome back, sir. How you doing today?
Always a pleasure, man. I'm doing great, man. I'm excited. You drop an album, it's like conceiving a child or something. So I'm very happy
You know,
that this day came to light.
yeah. And me and Karthik do have a plan, but I'm gonna mess it up a little bit and like maybe can you just give us like peel back the curtain on like what is that like of especially doing a complete album, with somebody else. I know we like it's not like y'all are outcast where you always concede of this thing, but it's like is it different? And then also too of like, yeah, tell us a little bit like what it feels like to get to release day.
Go ahead, Nejma.
I mean, for one, I've never done like a joint album with someone. I mean, I just started releasing my own albums. You know what I mean? I've done a lot of collabs, with Napoleon. He's probably, the person I collab with the most for many reasons. Um, you know, and it's like over this whole year, especially like during, when New York was kind of like the epicenter of the pandemic and all that, like we were going back and forth, with this project and just creating this beautiful body of work and really enjoying doing it. Like it was healing. It brought me a lot of joy. It was very creative, just going back and forth with each other, sharing ideas like, what you think about this? Let's do this, listen to this. And it's like, I'd be waiting on the other side to see what is going to be sent back, and like it was exciting. I look forward to it, on a daily. And I've never really had that experience, with another artist like that, like so in depth. um but yeah, like we said in our campaign, like we really thought that, the synergy that we had deserved like a proper project together. So finally, like, well, actually, before saying finally, it came out, like, there were some twists and turns, like Ashamed Records, was gonna release it on vinyl, and Richard, who was a really, really great guy. Like I didn't know him too long, but we started to build like a professional kind of relationship and stuff, and he really loved what we did, and it was ready, to be pressed up. It was all in the process, and like, he passed, and it was like I couldn't believe it, like, like that's just how it goes when people die. It's like sometimes you're like, what? And that's really just the feeling all the time. Like you just don't know and you don't expect it. So when that happened, it was so unfortunate and sad, so it kind of put that, it was like, damn, so we had to take a second, to kind of just process that, you know what I mean? And then, you know, we were thinking about, how are we gonna move forward with this and stuff. And talked about this and that. And I think yeah, then we decided, okay, we're gonna put it out digitally, talked about how we were gonna do that, and decided to do the Bandcamp vinyl campaign, because they invited Poe to do that before, because he'd be selling out his records and stuff. So it's like, and I was like, that could be a good look. And we decided to do that. So when we dropped that campaign and then like it came out digitally, I mean, it's always exciting, but I was almost a little bit like, I don't want to say overwhelmed, but in a good way. Like it was like, whoa, like, I'm getting all these people, the stories, the posts, I'm like, all right, hold on, you know what I mean? It's like it's moving,
Yeah.
And just like the fact that, I mean, I don't know if you guys see it, but like I don't see a lot of albums dropping consisting of a man and a woman in hip hop. That's a little bit more rare, you know what I mean? There's collabs and all that, but that is more rare to me. And I think people were really excited about it too and waiting for it because they have heard our collabs and stuff. I think a lot of people know what we about by now if they really listen
Yeah.
to us, and they, oh, and then, Poe dropped Low Tech. He dropped his The Hole in My Heart Part 3, and I was on Low Tech, the song Low Tech on that, and people were talking about that, how we were going back and forth. So to see it come out and see the excitement and feel it and just that energy, you know what I mean? I mean, I listened to it today too, like on Spotify, because it came out. I'm like, okay, let me rock this. We about to do this interview. Let me get in that mode. So, I mean, I just feel like it's a blessing, and it's really just the beginning of a chapter that maybe that we have in creating together. So I feel blessed, honored, excited,
Yeah, you hear that? This is not their final form, all right?
right.
Now, Napoleon, you got anything as far as what's it mean for to get here?
Yeah, no, it's special because I believe it's I never did a joint project like that, like my joint projects were producers producing me and me rapping, but not with another MC where it's gonna be like this is our project, you know what I mean? So and I produce most of it, so that's a challenge too, like that's something I step in and I take that seriously. I really wanted to create a soundscape that could fit our vibe, something like a texture that was like soulful, earthy, indigenous kind of too, And I was really looking, and the funny thing is, it's like when it comes to just making the music, with Nejma, it's like so easy and it's so fun. Like it's really fun, and I think people get it when they hear it. Like I think I get a sense, at least when I'm listening it, that it's like natural. It's like we bounce off each other so naturally. It's like we talk a little bit, but it's more intuitive than anything. Like it's kind of like we know what we have to do. You know what I mean? Like, and we trust each other too. So it's like I could get people like, yo, this what it is. Do what you do, and then I'll do it, and then or I'll initiate something, and she'll just follow off what I do. It's very intuitive. Like I don't really have to break down. Oh, I'm talking about this, or I'm talking about that. We just happen to get it.
Yeah.
But it's the funny thing is to add, it's been like that since our first collab. Like you got people to understand, me and Nejma are friends first. Like we started working with the youth in the schools in NYC, with the prison system, stuff like that. We knew we rapped and we knew we was nice, but like we just had a friendship. It wasn't like when I met her, I didn't think me and her were gonna be doing music together. I was just like, all right, cool. She's part of a whole slew of artists that we work with the youth. But there was something, and when it was like we had mutual respect for our skill, and our first was like, yo, I want you on one of my albums or my mixtapes. When we did that song, it was really special, and ever since we've been collaborating, it still stayed special. So it's like, whoa, this wasn't even a fluke. Like we there's something there, and that's how I feel about it when we get together on songs.
Word. Yeah, the feeling is mutual for real.
I kind of wanted to ask you how it feels to release an album on the same day that Kanye West does, but I kind of also wanted to. I mean, but that wasn't my real question. My real question is like how I think both of you touched on how like collaborations between artists tends to be like some sort of spectacle rather than like an actual meaningful collaboration. Can you like talk a little bit about the process of like collaborating, where you ensured that at an artistic level that you were constantly matching each other's level, or like ensuring that the product never got compromised at an artistic level?
Well, if I could say like from the standpoint of where I was mostly handling the production side of it, it's it's that trust thing. You know what I mean? Like I never have a doubt that Nejma is not gonna deliver. You know, and it's very important because yo, working with a lot of like rappers, I haven't done tons of features, haven't done tons of collabs. Sometimes you never know what you're gonna get, and sometimes it's tough. And I think she trusted me too because it's not like I don't advertise myself as a producer, but like I don't think that when I was sending her something that she was disappointed. Like you know what I mean? I didn't get that thing. I think we it was something a little bit spiritual about the thing. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like it was meant to happen. Because we didn't it was very, very organic. I can't stress that enough. You understand what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
there wasn't a lot of intellectual, like planning or strategizing or anything like that because I know what she's about. She knows what I'm about, right? So she's been on some revolutionary stuff. Like we're about the people, we're about things like that. So I kind of know that's who Nejma is. So it's a lot easier to work with somebody instead of working with, let's say, somebody I might know because of a name, but I don't know them personally. So it's really hard. Like I feel like I know Nejma. I know what she's about. I've seen her like do work. You know what I'm saying? As a human being, not as an artist or as some sort of like personality. I've seen it. So it's like when we get on songs, and what I liked is that I feel like Nejma like opens up a lot when she does songs with me too. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's not saying that she doesn't in her own music. She does, but like, I like the fact that she's not afraid to like tackle subjects that might be a little bit personal, things like that. Because I think that makes for great music. For people to connect with us.
Yeah, bouncing right off of that, I'm always like challenged in some kind of way, not like, oh, this is hard to do, but I like the challenge when I work with Napoleon and how he really inspires me because I mean people will inspire you in different ways, but how he inspires me to get personal mostly because I know I can be personal with him on a track and he's not going to feel offended or like something. I mean, you'd be surprised
Hmm.
like how many people become really insecure about certain things or like, and like I could just really say what I want and he could say what he wants. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
that's really important too. And like he was saying, the trust, and it's like we weren't doing this to impress people. We were doing this to create like some kind of like hip hop masterpiece between ourselves. Like it was fun, like it wasn't like,
Yeah.
oh, we have to do this, for these reasons. And it's like it was always about the quality. It's always about like the process over the product. We don't really think about the product, until it's done, and then we have to figure out, okay, now we really should have some dope art to this, and like all that matters. But like it's like yeah, it was about the art as always. You know what I'm saying? Whenever we do something, it's about the art. And like he said, we've had a friendship for a while now. We've seen each other do the work, practice the things we talk about. Um, I don't have to question Napoleon about nothing really. Like, you know what I mean? It's like it's very organic, like he said. There's magic in it. There's a lot of spirituality in it. Um yeah, I think just I really it could be a headache like working with people sometimes and like this is like always something that I really enjoy working together.
Yeah, well, that's I'm happy you guys even mentioned how you met, and because uh the album's titled Alter Ego, which it kind of it alludes to the existence of an origin story, you know, and y'all had your own like origin story, and then now we're getting to this album where we're getting to see the alter ego. However, I do have a question about even the title of the album, you know, um, and with the art, in my head, I'm thinking, you know, two people fighting out against, unjust world. But at the same time too, there's kind of a point of like, is any of this like kind of the play on words of, hey, maybe alter your ego, I don't know.
Actually, I thought of that too. Like when we had that, I was like, this could mean more than just like how we have alter egos as people, right? Of course, it meant that, but like, I definitely thought about that, like how people need to alter their damn egos, like what I mean, like we
Yeah.
that is a constant thing. Like we gotta deal with that as people, like because I'm always thinking when you do that, you're kind of elevating, because when you drop that ego, that's when the spirituality and magic can happen. So I definitely thought of that with the title too when we decided to choose that. I thought it was really fitting for our body of work.
That is definitely a double entendre, entendre with the fact that, we take on certain personas, when we get on the mic, or certain energies, certain spirits, depending on the song. And the ego is a big thing, when we working with somebody, because it's there, but you have to channel it. You channel it in the music, but then when you take a step back and you want to know if it's right, you have to be able to talk about certain things, and make sure we're both on the same page. And I think it was important for both of us to be on the same page. Like there wasn't one of us bulldozing the other person, or doing anything like that. It was just like, yo, like, do we feel good about this? And if we did, it was a go. You know what I mean?
Marcus, on that note, I kind of want to ask if you would play the clip from Kettle Chips, because that like is gonna set up my
Okay, yeah,
next question for them.
I had the no limit up. My bad.
Okay, you could have either of them is fine, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Kettle
Well,
Chips.
the no limit
Yeah.
because this is something that my cat's fucking up. Something that I find interesting is that like y'all God damn it, Winston, get out of here. Can y'all hear me? Am I mic? I think my
We can hear you.
No,
okay. My bad. My bad.
sound good.
No,
Cool with it.
when you're talking about really trusting each other, how y'all work together, it kind of seemed like I can't even remember, and Napoleon might even have to help you out with these like Dragon Ball characters that like they're two separate people, but they
Right.
come together
They
and
fuse.
they fuse, right? And it's like obviously you're two different people still, but this whole album is it is a collaboration to the truest sense of the word, as that y'all are kind of
Right.
just something a third is happening on. So
To your point, I feel like there is, like, in some way, I feel like sometimes that Nejma could be my counterpart in the upside down world, in one way or the other. Like, I see a lot of similarities, and it's like naturally our voices contrast. Their voice is high, my voice is a little bit more gritty, and it's like we're in one lane, we're in phase, but we're kind of opposites too. You know what I mean? So it's like I think that alter ego thing could be that too, because I'm really the anime head, like hardcore, and like, Dragon Ball, when Piccolo was fusing with Kami, or when Gotenks and Trunks were fusing together. Like, it's always in my head. And actually, when I did No Limit, I never told that to Nejma, but I was kind of thinking about that,
That's so
because
interesting. I
it
love
was
that.
like an old idea I had as a kid of, like, and that's why, like, we just bounce different things off each other, and then, like, it's like one, and then it comes together, and then it's like one. So it's like
Yo,
it
that was
was in my psyche.
That was crazy though, and that's a really dope concept. Yeah, you ain't even tell me that. That's because Napoleon knows more about the anime than I do. I kind of was introduced. I mean, I've watched a couple like anime movies and different things, but I wasn't like on it. You know what I mean? But I definitely got more on it because of him and my little brother too. He really loves it, and that's why he's like loving our album and stuff. But yeah, man, that's crazy how we really, I mean, I never that we were really bouncing off each other on that, man, for real. And it was so unique to me. I've never heard any kind of like back and forth like that.
yeah,
People are just like, "Oh, this is crazy."
and so we actually like to give the audience a taste of what they're getting. So yeah, this clip from the first track, No Limit, like, and that's the thing, is like this is like upfront, like right as soon as out the gate. And I mean, yeah, I have never heard anything like this.
That's the main event. We play to win. Something for you when your kin fucked around and made a gem. Award-winning Pulitzer. Bullets hit your liver. You shook and bitter, knowing that you should have did better. Male, female, peak sale, retail, street sales, beat still. We still build. Get your refill. Any J and the L. He's seeking missile. Take a sip of this L. We excel in all aspects. DNA.
Now I gotta ask. Can that be done? Can that be done live? Can that be done live?
Sure it can. We haven't done it. But y'all gonna have to book us and find out. You know that's the type of thing. I was listening to it today, and I was like kind of playing off. I'm like, damn, I wish we could do this on stage. Like, you know what I mean? Because I was walking around with it, and I was like, damn, on stage, what would that be like? You know what I mean? So we would be discovering how it would be like ourselves, because we ain't never did it, you know.
Yep. Yeah, we would definitely have to you know what I mean, I wouldn't go off the cuff with that. We would definitely have some rehearsals for that one.
That's practice. Yeah, that's practice.
I know it can be done. I know it can be done.
Yes, I believe it could be done too. I believe, in myself. I believe in Napoleon. I believe in us as artists, and a lot of that belief is the reason too why it's so great to work together. Like he said, like he doesn't say, oh, you never really hear him talking about I'm a producer, but I've heard things that he's produced, and it's not easy to produce everything and rap on it. It's a lot of work. Like I was really impressed actually that he did so much of the production and did all this back and forth with me, and it was just so dope. Like a lot of people lose a lot of the quality when you do too much.
Yeah.
It's nice to have other producers. Like I would love for someone to produce, an album with us in the future. But this one was really special because he really put his production into it, and it's so, again, organic. Like, you know what I mean? It was like, wow. I was like, yo, I believe in him and his work. So yeah, I don't question it. And when I got the beats, I was just like, wow, you really like taking it to another level. This is dope.
Thank you.
This is
and to add to that, it's like I'm not a producer like a lot of these producers who got like thousands of beats because they make beats all day. I rhyme all day. Like this is my thing. My thing is rapping. So everything like we did here, it was just like I just made it and we did the song. Like everything was custom made for that project. I don't have beats laying around and everything. So it was just like several ideas where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this is gonna be the next one. And I don't have any like fillers or beats that I had in the stash. I don't make beats like that. I make beats only when I need to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely like dig that, because it does seem like the beats, especially in so many, like we'll get to this a little later, there are like so many jazzy kind of like turns that you have in the beats that so perfectly fit the kind of like rap flow, that like I kind of actually wrote down 2 MCs, 1 flow, and that's kind of like the if I were to write an article about your like album, that's what I would probably call it. It's that like you were able to kind of seamlessly bring it into one flow. And the kind of question that I wanted to ask you about Kettle Chips was like how, despite like you having such radical politics, you seem to be totally against this idea of beef between artists, but you are still like ruthlessly calling out all of these like industry affiliated types. Can you say that you hate beef unless you're beefing with the industry?
Look, I'll speak for myself. Yeah, actually, I hate beef that leads to violence, to senseless violence or anything like that. And I think that the hip hop and the fact that it's our expression, we're able to channel our anger, our frustrations, and things like that, and to make beautiful art out of it. And sometimes it could be like, I have a problem with you, well, I'm gonna write a song about you. I think that's a lot better than going and handling my business. But I Whereas I think me and Nejma just being from that battle, like on No Limit, she's like started with the battle flows. I started with that too, and I used to do battles and stuff like that. It's still in our DNA as competitors, as hip hoppers. So we're always gonna be like, yo, look, we're about peace, we're about the people, but when it comes to like this hip hop battlefield thing, like we're armed and ready to go. And I think like I'm always on deck to for these rappers to be like, yo, step your game up and look, like we ain't nothing to play with. That's important too. But with that being said, I think with me and Nejma, what we do is as much as we talk about these things, we also really go hard on the system and go hard on the injustice and go hard on the oppression that we see around us, around the world, and things like that. It's like it's deep in our subject matter because that's the real fight. It's like we go back and forth, we have fun. Sometimes it's like, yo, we're playing pickup and this is just a game of basketball and we're showing off. But sometimes it's like, yo, we're also showing off and tap dancing on the head of the oppressor.
Or yeah, that's definitely a part of it. The battle rap. I mean, it's still a pillar in hip hop, but it's very different now. Cause I mean, obviously, like especially in the golden era, it caused a lot of East and West. Biggie, Pac, all that kind of stuff. And then in the underground, it's the same. Like that's how I started, and I kind of evolved from that, but like Poe said, it's still in me, and like a lot of the times I'm not, I mean, I'm usually never really talking about anyone specific. I'm talking about like he was saying too, like I'm talking about things that might it's like sometimes I hear some of these like these dudes songs and I'm like, you know what? I'm about to talk my shit, like you know what I mean? And it's like it's not really I'm not calling anyone specific out, if the shoe fits, whatever. You know what I mean? But like I have a lot of frustration sometimes, like as a woman in hip hop, that I put onto the records. You know what I'm saying? And they could like it or not. You know what I'm saying? And then then you got sometimes it's like it is a sport, but it's still like for fun. I'm not like you wouldn't believe how many like guys reach out to me and want me to battle other women, and I have no interest in that. You know what I mean? Like I just don't. It's not where I'm at. Like I want to uplift other women. We already have problems with that, So
Yeah.
it's like yeah, like we take it we do it from an authentic place. You know what I mean?
Well, actually, I would play a little bit from Kettle Chips.
You garbage when you on stage, I won't applaud. Rewarding mediocrity should be outlawed. It's already too late, I'm only here to fill a call. Then go back to my origin, seen everything I saw. I've always been advanced, started walking, never crawled. Not gonna do it now, don't give a fuck if you're appalled. All you do is come together to sing a sad ass song. Fearing everyone around you, afraid to lose it all.
I keep hearing them talking about snitch this and snitch that. Telling on yourself, every single line in each rap. Corny as fuck, pausing every bar, waiting for some feedback. Your boy's gassing you, homie. Time to lift your seat back.
Oh!
Yeah, exactly.
God damn.
Yo,
And
you
like,
you gotta scare him a little bit. And shout out to Just Music Beats for that instrumental, because
Word
their beats is all about like they trying to kill everything. So it brings that part out of us. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Yeah, that's true too. It's about the beat sometimes too. It's like, oh, this just makes me wanna, be a rapper killer. I don't know.
I know. Well, and that's I call them murder beats. There's
we
just
deal with emotions, So
Yeah.
it's like it's emotional art, Like we're like you put that beat on, and we're ready to go to war. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Yep.
Carly, do you want to tease the next one?
Yeah.
Hors d'oeuvres?
Yeah. Sure. I mean, like it kind of connects to what we were talking about as well, because like as you pointed out, like when it comes to like other women artists in hip hop or anybody who's like a struggling artist from any marginalized community, you seem to be like fully in solidarity. Which is basically like something that I've seen how in any artistic industry, like self-interest is like confused as like some sort of struggle, because it's just like an artist trying to express themselves as opposed to like really stand in solidarity. I kind of wanted to understand how you individually approach this question of like whether your writing and whether your art is like in solidarity with struggle, as opposed to just like, speaking your piece and like hoping you get like attention for it. And like, yeah, personally as an artist, like I also struggle with this question, because you're ultimately speaking for a community of people, or like struggles that you feel like you're giving voice to, but at the same time you're also drawing attention away from them in a kind of way, because towards yourself, because you are like through your talent, etc. So how do you kind of balance and make sure that your art is in solidarity with struggles? And like I think like in a kind of way, the statement you make in this track, on this track, like at that point that Marcus has indicated, I think kind of like speaks to this a little bit. So I don't know if you want to answer the question first, or we hear it, or like whatever
You're,
order you prefer.
you're referring to like how I start that song?
No, no. How Nejma says
Oh.
something about other people's success, and like how she feels about
Mm.
Oh,
when other people succeed, and how you're kind of unfazed by that, because you are confident about your success, and you still want others to succeed as well. And that I thought was pretty fascinating.
oh yeah, on hors d'oeuvre. Yeah, you could play that. You
Uh,
could play it, and yeah.
Your success, I don't sit there secretly wishing it was rather me. I just reach from my own wisdom, vision, insight, and mastery. Make every move with audacity, unwavering tenacity, and make sure to do it actively. Never got anything resting passively. The sun in my solar plexus, the glow is infectious. Nefertiti banging glass tables attached to my necklace. I rap ambidextrous with both sides of my brain. Then I tap into a divine perspective from another terrain. Got a relationship with Mary Jane, high on a plane, reminiscent of being
I love that track. That's such a
Yeah.
special too, for real. Yeah, you know what? You said it right. And it's like there's something, there's room at the table. There's a lot of gatekeepers and stuff, but I don't think like that. Like, I stopped thinking that people are blocking me from some kind of thing, and I started to think, oh, I'm just gonna make my own way. Like I'm gonna be undeniable because I'm gonna consistently create art, for hip hop culture and beyond too. Like, we like to think of ourselves as Renaissance artists. You know what I mean? This isn't all we do. We don't just rap. We like to create and get creative beyond that. But yeah, like, that's a big thing with people. Like, when people see other people succeeding, they feel envy, they feel jealousy. That gives me power. I feel great. I love when my people call me to tell me they got this and that, and I'm winning. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you win, we all win. That's how it's supposed to be, a network of people striving and thriving, so that we're not just struggling. And I think that relates to the question that you were asking, like, how is it not all about me, and how do I keep that solidarity with the world in my life, in my music? I think part of it has to do with what you practice, how you live your daily life. You know what I'm saying? Because that will come out in your music too. It's, a lot of the micro things that we do in life are bigger than we think. The little things that we could do, on the daily, whether it's working with the youth, the elders, whether it's, being an eco-socialist, whether it's having radical politics and challenging people on their, thoughts that they're not even researching. I mean, I've talked to people who think the Zapatistas are a terrorist group, and I'm like, where did you hear that, and why do you think that? And they're like, oh, the media in the 90s. I'm like, that's it? You just believe that? Like, because you are way off with that. I mean, I take notes from them. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
personally. But not to go off on other things, but I think it's like, the thing is that of course we want to succeed with our art. Every artist does. I mean, that's our job, right? Like, I don't have a 9 to 5. Napoleon don't. We don't have like a 9 to 5. We put our all into this. So it's like, of course, we want to eat off of it and all that, but we're not sitting here like, oh, my whole purpose for making this music is so that I could make it and make a lot of money. We have fun doing it. We love doing it. And you don't know what's going to come out of it. You never know what tomorrow might bring, what the next release might bring. And then you have to deal with it accordingly. We were talking about that beforehand, like the industry and all that. I think it does get harder when you get opportunity. But I think that it's really hard personally, for me, personally, I'm going to speak for me. It would be hard for me to be an industry artist because there's a lot of opportunities that I really wouldn't be down with. So I don't know how I would cross over like that. But there's a lot of artists that I feel are out in the industry that do great work, but it's a really fine line, you know? Like I don't want capitalistic sponsorship. I had plenty of, offers in my 20s for all kinds of stuff that I turned down, and I don't regret it at all. Like I know that I'm where I'm supposed to be, and that and then I'm gonna take it further, you know what I'm saying? And to me, as long as I keep it, again, with the ego, it's like it ain't about this is for a hip hop is a big, huge, lovely, ancient culture. I want to do this. I want to be in the Universal Museum of Hip Hop. I want to be recognized as a woman in hip hop who, like, who had bars, who talked about things, who inspired people, who was really about it, and who lived what I was speaking about. That takes skills and work to live what you talking about. So I just think that's, I'm gonna let Poe bounce off of that, but that was just some things that I was thinking about, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell y'all, and that's why I love Nejma, man. And she really walks what she says. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, I'm a child of capitalism, and we're here hustling to survive. I tell y'all a story just to back up. When we was looking, I had a manager at some point, so she was looking for she's not my manager no more, but she was looking for opportunities for me, and so I was getting a lot of shows, man. I was getting shows like Essence Fest, doing this festival, that festival. It had to do with what she was looking for, but it also had to do with I was coming back from tour, so like my name was buzzing around the city, and she like got an opportunity by meeting the Reebok, the manager at the Reebok store at Union Square. So the dude was like, yo, you could curate an event, have anybody and perform at the Reebok store, and anybody you want to perform. So obviously I'm like, yeah, and they're like, yo, we'll give you a jumpsuit and some shoes. I'm like, great, this is awesome. Like I get to perform, tell my friends to come, and I ended up doing it, and I got the jumpsuit and I got the shoes. All right, full disclosure. Like I'm not out here gonna lie. You know what I'm saying? But I asked Nejma to do it. I was like, yo, it's for the Reebok store. People come, we just gonna have a stage and a mic. And she refused to do it because she's like, yo, it's not really, I don't really get down with these brands and shit like that. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So like, she's not just talking. She gets down with the get down. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, look, I could be pragmatic here and there, and it's a tough question. Like I think I try to base what I do with the people, you know what I mean? Like people, I would be grounded with the interest of the people. When I mean the people, it's like the people, the majority of the people, not the people at the top of the pyramids and their cronies. You know what I'm saying? So, and at the same time, we live in a constant conflict of interest and our conscience too. Living in the world we live in, where we got to pay the rent, we got to do what we got to do. So I think it's like you got to constantly question your intentions, and also you don't want to be compromised either. You want to make sure like you're making these decisions for the greater good and not for somebody using you. And it's hard because as an artist, when people start seeing you start getting attention, a lot of people want things from you, and a lot of people want to invite you to do this, want you to do this, want you to do that. Sometimes you don't research. Sometimes you don't even know what you're getting yourself into. So sometimes you are going to be in places where it's like, damn, okay, I didn't know such and such was going to be here, or I didn't know this was going to be used for this or for that. So it's just something you live and you learn, and you got to be vigilant. And I think as an artist, you have to be honest enough to be like, yo, I don't regret that Reebok thing. I got that jumpsuit and the shoes, you know what I'm saying? And I rocked out. It was a nice little event, you know what I mean? But it's not even about that. It's more so just questioning yourself at every given time. Just asking yourself and having good people around you to be like, yo, you think this is worth it? You think this makes sense? You think you're compromising yourself by doing that? Sometimes you do have to infiltrate a little bit. You step on a stage and you say some good stuff on that stage, and people are listening to you. So it's like you're there, and your presence is felt. It's like it's not. I don't want to be categoric. I want to be pragmatic. What makes sense makes sense, and I want to try to bring my people into these spaces so we could enlarge our tribe. We could do a counter propaganda against their propaganda on their playing field where they at too. So it's a complex question, and people don't like nuance. People often want to be like, nah, I never do that, or this is how I am, or this that. Me, we live in a world of heavy nuance, and we have to come to accept it. Even on the left, you see all this infighting, this and that, and the third, and sometimes we're categorical about certain things. And once again, shout out to rest in peace to Michael Brooks. But I think he understood that well when it came to, and this goes with alter ego, like you kind of sometimes need to channel and use your ego to because we're not gonna sit there just because we say we're for the people that we're gonna dim our light. No, I think we should all express ourselves to the fullest. I love when Karthik places his bass, like or whatever, like he's expressing himself, like shine to the fullest. Like we've been made small by this society this whole time. Hip hop was for us to be like, yo, we're here, we have a voice, we're important. So we have to make ourselves big in the music and make ourselves big in the way we carry ourselves in this world, in this society, this imperialistic society, because or else we're just gonna be beaten down like we've been beaten down for eons.
Yeah, and that's something that's like I don't know, and kind of the few things that you've been saying, both of y'all are just even still is like one. This is like kind of like your passion, but this is also like just your work, And Napoleon, we had talked about before, like you, and this is probably why you do so many projects. You're able to produce and also like deliver on rhymes. It's it's like a 9 to 5. Like you go to work. You do what you got to do to pay rent. It just also happens to be this artistic skill that is hip hop. You know what I'm saying? But it's like it's also too like this is just how you slam your fucking hammer against the anvil. And
Absolutely.
and I think too that just that understanding on the audience side, is that the people artists are like flesh and bone, but art is just something that we also need within our lives, and honestly, like the person delivering your mail, they're a motherfucking rock star too. They're putting the time to make sure you get the stuff you need. But and music is just on that same thing. But kind of where we're at with this capitalist society is that like they get so uplifted and all this, and we always talk about like the difference between art and entertainment, and then you just kind of got to realize like all that shines glitter, or all that glitters is not gold, right? But yeah, but at the end of the day, it's like we just got some real people who are just doing what you love, and like it shines through because there's, even though we talk about just the styles of hip hop, the battle aspect of it, the types of beats and how competitiveness is kind of breeded into it. At the end of the day, like the people who you are still shines through, and that's what's really dope about y'all music. But I'll get off my soapbox now.
You know what? I want to emphasize one thing because I thought what Napoleon said was really important. How we have to decide, like what we feel comfortable with. Because like I'm also not a person who's like, oh, I'll never, do like it's like yeah, I didn't do the Reebok thing or whatever, and it's like I don't judge that he did it, and I ain't mad at him for doing it. I've been given clothing like Adidas. I be wearing them, right? You know what I'm saying? And like all that stuff. Like it's not that I don't have brands. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It was, it was what it was then. I just feel like we got to do our best. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I don't really want to. I felt like when I seen what he was doing, I felt like they had good intentions and it was for a good cause. I just didn't feel like it was speaking to me right then and there. But I was also, honored that he asked me, to do it. And I know that he's not the type that's going to be like, oh, I'm not going to ask her to do something again. Because people be doing that. Like, they'll be like, if you don't do something that they want you to do or whatever, or invite you to, they won't invite you again.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't really even have to explain nothing. That's funny he told that story, because it's like, I ain't even really have to explain nothing. Like, and he was like, yo, it's all good. You know what I mean? But like, I've been in situations, where I was working with a producer or whatever, and we were doing a certain thing, and they might have bought me this and that. And it's like, I'm not gonna say no, I'm gonna rock this in the video or whatever. But yeah, I think it's complex every time. But I think that,
That's the point.
as like revolutionary minded artists and stuff, like if we're always striving, to do our best and live in the way that we want to see the world, I think that's what really counts. But I'm not going to be like, oh, I don't ever do that, and I'm better because I'm plant-based, or I'm, because people act like that. They're like, I hate that, and it's not going to transform people when you do that. You cannot be like, oh, on this high
Holier
pedestal
than
about
thou.
that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to throw that out there, because I thought it was really important that he spoke on that.
I mean, and it's a great question. That's what I'm saying. All I'm stressing is that case by case, and it's complex, man, because it's like, yo, you summer festivals, every single stage has like Coca-Cola in the back and
Right.
stuff like that, like, and it's like, so are you gonna say no because so our message doesn't deserve to be like in these spaces if they need it? Like, you have to make a decision. What do you think is the greater good? And you know what? Everybody's not gonna agree with your choices at some point, and at some point you get to a certain level where some people gonna be like, man, that person sold out and this and that and the third, and they have the right to have their opinion on certain things. And we're there to criticize artists, and we have to take critique because we're putting ourselves out there like that. The thing is, it's like, look, we know what we're about. We know what our messaging is about, and I don't think our messaging is mainstream at all. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because my vision of like society, and I see so many problems, and I don't even only see problems politically. I see they probably stem from political things, but it permeated to other things, like socially, how we engage with each other. This whole transactional relationships, this whole 48 laws of power, Machiavellian, which could be used for good reasons too, but it's like I just have a problem with it because it drains my soul, man. I'm tired of playing games with people where I have to like feel like I'm dancing, and I have to, that old thing where you have to step over people's head to get to other places. Nah, I don't think that you should be like that. I think we could like all just do it as a community, lift ourselves up, lift our best voices up. We're gonna keep smashing the mic because we want to tell other people in our community, don't get on the mic unless you could hang with us. But I'm not gonna tell Marcus how to do what he does because he knows what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? I'm like I mean, no, I'm telling you the truth. You do. You're good. You're great at what you do. People like, same thing at Karthik. We all have our thing, and we just choose to excel and choose to be, and we just obsessed with this hip hop level. So our message got permeate through the hip hop.
Right. And
I think it's
sorry,
yeah, please go on.
We might infiltrate that stage that has Coca-Cola in the background and talk about Coca-Cola's ass. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we might do that, like, and we might break it down right with their thing in back of us. I'm not saying that's not something I would do. I mean, Coca-Cola is a oh my God, we're not even gonna go into that. Like, you know what I'm saying? But like, if I was to ever do something like that, it's like I would use it in a way like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we get clever with it. You know what I'm saying? So it's complex.
Yeah.
This is like a good place to play the next track, I think, because like I have something exactly along these lines that I think
you're talking about Daisimas, right?
Daisimas, yes.
Pile drive in your face, alpha male, Nejma out with Bell. I rock like Acanel / Machiavelli, even in acapella with alkaline, immaculate cells. T'Challa fighting allergens, a paladin at the helm.
I'm pure electricity, my flame will burn you up viciously. Cats will do anything just for a little publicity. You shit to me, back the fuck up, you high toxicity. Your mouth got gangrene, we nowhere near the same team. My eyes got laser beams, you sitting in a daydream. I'm a nightmare, too small to fight fair. I'll pick something up, knock you back a couple light years. My hand's nice, go ahead, believe what you might hear.
Oh my god. It's
Too small to fight fair is like such a great line. That's why like I wanted to play that, because like it's such an innocuous line, but like at the same time, think about like too small to fight fair. Like you're kind of like saying that you don't want to fight fair, because a lot of people like kind of vilify protest movements of any sort to like say that your demands are too excessive, too vulgar, defund the police, like for example, right? And I just like this reminded me immediately that artists break rules, revolutionaries break rules. So like kind of this is a hard argument to however make to an audience, because like audiences are kind of like always like told that you have to toe the line, etc. Even among like the most like revolutionary artists in the mainstream, they're still like, you know, playing a very safe kind of game. But like you, as you said, like you will go to Coca-Cola stages and like say something about Coca-Cola, which is kind of you could say that that's not fighting fair in a way. But like I'd like to know what all you mean when you say you don't fight fair. Like what does that involve?
well, and I actually, and I'm sorry if I can just kind of put something on that you had said before with the Zapatistas, is that kind of something that he tied into?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, so it's literal also. It's like I'm kind of a small person in stature. And any time that I've ever gotten into anything, it's nothing I ever start, and the person's always bigger than me. I never really could wrap my head around that. You know what I mean? And you know, there's a lot of that in life. You know, it's like, so it's literal to me in my life. You know what I mean? Whether it's like it was you know, a bigger girl or a group of girls or a man or whatever the case may be, it's like I'm too small. Like, okay, we're not in a boxing ring. You're not going to tell me I fouled somebody or whatever. I will pick something up, and I'm not going to be fair about the way I'm fighting. We're in the street. Like, you could get, I'm looking around. I'm going to look because, you know, it's like, I'm at a disadvantage as it is. You know what I'm saying? It's like if someone's bigger than you, not to say that they're always, you know, a better opponent, because you know the art of war teaches us that, like, you know, never underestimate someone. You know what I'm saying? Whether they're small or whatever, they might kick your ass, or like, you know, you might look at somebody and think, oh yeah, I'm gonna just, and they really could put you down on the ground. And I've definitely have dropped a few people bigger than me. You know what I'm saying? And that's how they look with they look shocked, you know. And it's not to brag, because I didn't want to fight in the first place, you know. But it is a funny thing though, and that's why I said that. But it is definitely political. It's like, you know, you expect us to keep, like, you expect us to play by your rules. Like, you ain't fighting fair. So it's like, how are we supposed to play by some kind of rules when there are no rules? You know what I'm saying? And so, like, whatever we got to do to kind of like to bring justice forward, or like, you know, to protect our people, or to bring awareness, or whatever, it's the whole by any means necessary thing to me. Like, we don't turn the other cheek over here. Like, if somebody hits me, it's on, you know. But like, I'm not gonna attack people, you know what I mean? But like, we are being attacked all the time in this world. So, and it's always usually unfair. Like, you know what I mean? When you see the things going on, I mean, it's like, it's really, I mean, it's overwhelming. I've used that word a few times in this interview already, because it's like, I've been feeling so overwhelmed with the things going on in the world. And sometimes I think, I think we all think this, like, what can I do? What more can I do? Am I doing enough? You know, but I think it's the micro things, again, that we do in our everyday life. If we are trying to push forward every day in some kind of way, I think, you know, we're getting there. You know what I'm saying? But like that whole thing about not fighting fair, there is no fair here. You know, there's no justice. That's why that we ain't gonna, no justice, no peace. Yeah. Like, you want peace, give us justice. What are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? Like that shit be hyping me up for real. So that's really where that comes from.
Right. Napoleon, you have something to add to that?
Yeah, just the fact it's like a power dynamic, you know. It's like the people with power, and they set the rules of the game. So therefore, and their rules always benefit them anyway. So, you know, like yo, sometimes you're not gonna take it no more. Like she said, like we here to we're survivors by trait. You know, like same here. Like you know, I'm not a big dude either. So everybody I've ever had to fight with was bigger than me. So I could relate to that. You know, whatever she said. I used to play basketball. You know what I mean? I was always the shortest guy on the court doing my thing. You know what I mean? So it's like it's that tenacity of like, yo, look, yeah, you're not gonna, we're not just gonna lay down and let y'all mess with us. You know what I mean? And I think it takes, it's if we had that collective attitude, we could go places. You know what I mean? Because
For
once we're real docile and we keep them thinking like we're cool, we're comfortable, they're not gonna change nothing. They're gonna keep pushing us down more and more and more. It's when we start like being like, yeah, yo, this is BS, man. We're not gonna play game no more. I'm not coming to work today. He's not coming to work today. We're gonna stay here. Yo, that's when they start sweating because they're like, oh
Yeah.
yeah,
snap,
straight up
this
for
can't
real.
this can't go on. You know what I mean? So it's like
Yep.
I think we have to somehow there has to be dissent.
Yeah.
From a she was talking about micro, but from a macro level, dissent is useful. You know what I mean? You like it's get you fight fair. Fighting fair is like coming to work and telling your boss, "Can I have a meeting with you, please? Um, I'm tired. I kind of want a vacation. Is there something we could do? Could I get a raise?" And you know you're gonna get the boss talking to you. Yeah, I understand. You know, we just have to pull through. You know, this is a hard week. This is a hard month. Everybody's calling sick. Somebody quit. So you got instead of being like, yo, let's create a union. Let's talk and look. If you guys, unless we get this dealt with, we're all not gonna work. So you guys figure it out with whoever we designate and vote in as a leader, and y'all come back when you got a deal that because we're not here saying we don't want to work. We just you're killing us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's what's going on all around the world. So it's like it's
Right.
just
It's like
about
we
being smarter and not be playing by their rules because their rules is rigged.
straight up. I mean, I think it starts on a micro level with self, but it is about the macro when it comes to us as people. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, yeah, we are the people. Like us talking here right now. Anybody who's tapping into this is who we're talking about. It's us. You know what I'm saying? We ain't wait. There is no one else. We're the ones.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, and that's I mean, and kind of even just like take about like why Karthik and I are just fans of y'all's music, but even just wanted to do this project is to tap into something that is like for us, right? This is for the people. It does us no good to just listen to Cristal and fucking yachts and Bentleys and Hummers and all that. Like it does us no good to keep just listening to that, you know.
Right.
And so, what is for us, right? What is actual music for people? And that's all we wanted, right? That's all we wanted to do. And like honestly, too, it's like for ourselves. Like me and him, we talk about hip hop and just music in general a lot. And man, like we were talking about some mumble rap bullshit beforehand, and it's just a lot of nonsense. It's just a lot of like wasted time, in my opinion, right? I'm not gonna put anything on y'all.
Yeah, it's just show. That stuff, it's like they don't even it's such a show, you know what I mean? It's not even real to me when I see all that. It looks like, like they're puppets, That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah.
You know, and I think again, like of course we want to be successful. I think it also depends what you do, like with your power. A lot of people let that get to their ego, and then out goes the window everything that they were fighting for or believing in. And it's like, well, this is your time now. Like now you have this power. Like
Right.
I think about that all the time. Like if something popped off, I'm not going to be lost in knowing what to do. You know what I'm saying? Because I
Yeah.
think about that kind of stuff. What would I do with
Right.
this and that? what do we do with our power at the pulpit? What do we say? Who do we give to? What do we do with these resources? That's the important thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, bring that forward, man. Like people are ready for that.
And I think like the fact that we have each other, you know what I mean, as a whole, I think it's important. Like if Nejma see me doing something questionable, that she could tell me like, yo, look, what are you doing, and at least have a discussion about it, to be like, maybe you're losing yourself a little bit with that quote unquote power, so to speak. But like when you said like music for the people, it's funny because when I was listening to rap, like I guess growing up and going to the clubs a lot, it hit me one day, man. I'm like, damn, I'm starting to hate women. You know what I mean? Because of the music I was listening to. And I was like, I'm just not realizing, but I'm like, yo, I'm looking at women like they're objects, and I'm like kind of like, and it's the program, like you hear it all the time. You hear it all the time. You're dancing to it. You're stepping up and you're grinding on a stranger at the club. You're not even trying to find out who that person is. It's like it's in it came to a point where it's like, yo, I gotta reverse brainwash myself right now, because I'm just lost in the sauce right now. That's why I talk about Kool-Aid in one of them songs, where like, I felt like I drank the Kool-Aid too long, and it's like, look, I need something else, but there's nothing else. There wasn't a lot of hip hop that was that I kind of wanted to hear, and I'm just like, I'm happy that we're able to make music like that. You know what I'm saying? That like something that we personally probably would like to hear, like, and put it on wax and make it sound dope, and do it with finesse and do it with skill. Because I think there was definitely need for more. There's a void for that type of thing. You know what I'm saying? There's a void for that type of food. And it's like the mumble rap and stuff. It's a product. It's like cars on a conveyor belt. They found a cheap way to get a product to you that they could sell over and over and over again. Like the iPhone 12 is going to be the 13th, and the 14th is just a little bit different, but it's basically the same thing. It's like what we do, and it's real cooking. Like me and Nejma, like we're cooking. Like we're going in the kitchen, we're cooking. We're not microwaving. We're not microwaving. Nothing is pre-made.
Now,
That's why it's.
The
can I
the food
ask?
titles are not lost on
Yeah,
us.
can I,
Like we can see the
I mean, which I listened to the album on Spotify. We'll definitely you get the list of all the places you can hear it. But for the album, a lot of these things are just named after, like, it's all food based. Kettle chips, hors d'oeuvres, diced sea moss, lemongrass duck, Panamanian devil fruit, wild rice. Like there's a is that kind of like what you're saying? Like, hey, we're talking about feeding some people with this. Is that kind of where you're coming from with that?
Yeah, it's definitely soul food. There's definitely food for the soul. It's
Or were
definitely
you just
something
hungry? Were you just hungry when you're naming these things?
like. Nah, it's just like you're on the table. Like this is on the menu. Like
Yeah,
like
it's a menu.
we're feeding you this and we're feeding you that, and it's gonna be
What
a
you want to
colorful.
order, yo? What you want to order? We got you.
Yeah, like we got that. This is food. Here's a plate. You know, just eat and bon appetit. You know
Come
what I'm
get your
saying?
fill. Come get your fill.
Right. This
Yeah.
is that food. They feeding you this, we feeding you that.
Speaking of food that you're not gonna get elsewhere, like I definitely don't think that like you're gonna get content like in this track anywhere else, especially because of like the kind of radical speeches that you Napoleon separately I've seen you include, and Nejma separately has also like included speeches and like just clips of radicals speaking and like any kind of radical politics. So this is not even that like that extreme in any sort of way, or like in any like aggressive sort of way. It's just like a almost casual statement, but I just like appreciated just how strong this statement stands, like especially. And I wanted to ask a little bit about where you found it, who this is, even because I couldn't tell. I don't know if Marcus could.
Yep. I'll play.
You talk about the long history of exploitation, of abuse, of oppression of people of color, especially black folk, in the making of American democracy. Who can push over a threshold, and the anger and the rage flows, and the system cannot contain it. And a system that is unable to reform itself and speak to the root origins and needs of an oppressed people results in explosion. Now, of course, this is rebellion. This is not revolution at the moment. This is rebellion. But there'll never be enough police. There'll never be enough cannons. There'll never be enough military persons to generate the kind of legitimacy, to generate the consent of citizens when they view that status quo losing its legitimacy. And that's where we are now. And it's a very, very difficult moment and a very painful dilemma.
Wait, I actually feel like it's Cornel West now. Why do I get the feeling that it's Cornel West? Damn. I guess I didn't.
I'm like, damn, you don't know who that is? I'll be surprised you didn't know who that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, like basically, like I listen to a lot of like speeches from different, radicals, different voices and things like that. And I always, sometimes some songs, it just strikes me like at the beginning or at the end of the song, let me just spice it up and make it a little bit more cinematic and just drop seeds, you know what I'm saying? Like different things that just to hit you in different angles. There's the rhyme angle, there's the music, there's the frequency and the speech. And Cornel West has such a cadence and a flow to his voice that I just thought like, man, let me put some good Cornel West in there.
Yeah, that was dope with the horns and everything. That would really hit.
And I'm not gonna lie, I've started doing that in the little wait the beginning. So when I do my little afternoon streams to talk politics, I'll just like, hey, starting soon, and I'll play just like random lo-fi beats, and then I'll find some Cornel West speaks at, some Adolph Reed speaking at, just find something and just mix them both together, and it's just it works every time, I'm not trying to say what Napoleon does is easy by any means. That's not what I'm saying.
I found that out when I started doing Still This Mixtape, and I started putting it together. I would just put speeches from Mamiya, Martin Luther King. I had speeches from random things that I would just, or even movies, and it's just like, I just feel like it just gives a certain quality to the music. It gives something extra to it. It makes it extra cinematic.
And I mean, we kind of hit on this. Sorry, Nejma, but we kind of hit on this before, and I guess I'll ask you too. It's like, and then Napoleon, we talked about like how like Wu-Tang, they put a lot of this the Shaolin monk, type of kung fu, all that stuff like that. I mean, I get like that sampling, that's just part of hip hop, right? Like that's kind of like a big thing within hip hop. It's like who are you actually bringing to the table with you? Right.
Yeah, that's something I really love doing too. It makes people think. Like if it's on a beat, you know what I mean? It really does kind of hit people differently. It's like you're listening. It's a journey, and yeah, I think it really makes people think.
I kind of wanna. I sent in the message that I sent to Marcus. I said that I wanted to hear this song in the full, which is like, I don't know if you would be down for that. Marcus, but like I am just like this song, and it's not just because like of the obvious like the content, but also just the kind of how unlikely it is that I would hear anything like this, let alone something that honest, that raw, and that explicit, that you wouldn't hear it on the mainstream, like even among any artist. But on the other hand, like even though there are artists who produce like really really explicit content, like really like using the words, all kinds of words, etc., they still don't manage to produce something that's like as raw and vulnerable as this is. And like and in a way, and again, another thing that I also was fascinated by, this song called Strange Love, which is what I'm obviously talking about, is the fact that there are three artists each talking like unabashedly about their, sexuality and all of that, but there isn't an insinuation of any kind of like romantic angle in any sort of way, or like any kind of like directed to each other sort of way, which is like an easy way to commodify this type of stuff, right? Like it'll automatically be like the male artist directs it to the female artist, or like whatever the genders might be that they're directing it towards each other. That's kind of how they would usually package it. But this, I felt like it was just like a confessional, three different people saying it to the camera, kind of, or like to the listener, and it felt like much more intimate that way. It felt even you shared like some sort of intimacy with each other, although not in the stereotypical way. So I kind of wanted to get a sense of what your experience was making this track, and like and we don't have, unfortunately, the third person on this, who I thought was probably like the one who went like the furthest in terms of how raw and like just direct the statement was. So yeah, I just wanted to give you a chance to talk about how you went about making this song, and what the vision was, and how you felt it came out.
Well, I'll play a little bit of each of their verses, and then we could kind of get into it, because it is like a very, very interesting song about the way it's laid out and done, and I'll just...
Love is so strange, complicated, it'll force you to change. For the good or bad, leave you thinking, crying and sad. We all been through it. But are you loving yourself? The kind of love that'll have you getting back to your health. True wealth, standing on your own, don't need no one else. If you get it, it's a plus. Know your worth, do trust. Sometimes love ain't even love. It's just lust over the idea of you, or your pen and brush.
All right. Well, that was Nejma. Move a little forward.
Politics don't mix, don't act phony like that. Your views are conservative, but you sex like a leftist. Free sexually, and plus you swallow me for breakfast. You voted Trump, I wanted Bernie. Plus I need some Medicaid, ho, just in case you try to burn me. Live smash off, fat ass. Plus you cook your ass off. Bang it with your boots on, baby. Don't take your...
Okay. And that thing's like, Karthik is right about the third verse, but hey, you got to go get it. You got to go listen to it. All right. Now. Well, I say, Nejma, do you want to go first? And then your verse, when you talk about strange love, and like that's one thing I was like, oh, okay, this is. I'm like, your verse comes up first, and think it's like, oh, this is about just thinking about love outside of the Ja Rule, Ashanti, thing that's been beat to death.
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, Napoleon sent me this beat, and he was like, just do what you want on this. And I'm like, okay. And, even the hook, like, it speaks to what you just said about the whole Ja Rule Ashanti thing, because it's like, there's so many, and, it's strange love. So like, there's so many different ways, people can love each other, and like, things are so boxed in all the time. I think with my verse, I kind of opens it up for Napoleon and Brew to get like really like kind of intimate and personal, because I don't think I necessarily did exactly kind of like what they did. I think I kind of opened up the doors to that and was like, I want to hear about this strange love from, this is like, I'm setting the stage for this, like, and hey, this, sometimes it's not even love, it's just lust, sometimes people don't even love you, they just love the idea of you, or your pen and brush, like your artistry. Sometimes people are like, wow, and it's like, you don't know me, like, what I mean, like, do you really want to get to know me, like, or are you just like fixated or obsessed? And so I kind of was touching on these ideas, and I think they really brought it to life with their verses. And I agree about what you said about La Bruja's verse. And I didn't know that she was going to be on this one. I knew we were going to have her on something, and I wasn't sure what yet. And it was supposed to be like a surprise, and she told me by mistake. And then Napoleon's like, okay, I'm going to let you hear it since you know now. And when I heard it, I was like, wow, this is like, I was so like, I was impressed with the vulnerability that each of them put out. But, like La Bruja being a woman and saying the things that she said, we talked about it on the phone. She was like, you know what, that she questioned it, which we often do sometimes, right? And not just women, men too. But, you know, speaking from a woman's perspective, like we question putting things out sometimes when it involves sexual things or sensual or anything like that, because we're so sexualized already. It's like, I don't want to bring, you know what I mean? It's just like, I want you to take me seriously. But this was like, I don't care. I'm gonna, like, you know, tell this story. And she told me too, she was like, you know, people are gonna have probably talk shit, and I, you know, I decided I don't care. I was like, you know what, I'm so glad you did, because this shit is really different, it's powerful, and it's like, it's you know, from each person's perspective, I thought it was really strong on that side of things, and you don't get that a lot, like you said. So I feel like that's a really special one, and definitely a vulnerable, intimate one, you know, maybe the most in that way on this project.
Yeah, I think that, like, yeah, so she's the way Nejma said it all, I think she kind of like was like a narrator. She framed the whole thing like, okay, this is not your typical love song, and the Hollywood type of love song, entertainment business type of love, you know, is always over romanticized, over like, and that's really not the reality of how love happens most of the time, at least in my experience. So I think like basically Nejma like narrated the thing, and then and she also wrote that hook, you know, breaking it down. And me, I wanted to like be first person, like and speak on it from, it's like from an emotional level, from like, this is like a relationship that I'm in that's not conventional and at all, you know what I mean? It's like, and that's things that even like from a, and bring politics into it, because sometimes we act like we both live in different worlds, like a conservative lives separate to somebody on the left, or a socialist or something like that, when we live in the same world. Like, and you could meet somebody somewhere, and it could be politically or religiously or spiritually, that person could be the opposite of you. I mean, that's happened to everybody. And I just, you know, kind of encapsulated like a lot of that emotion of like messing with somebody that on paper wouldn't look right at all, but like the lust, if anything, the lust or the love is passionate. You know what I'm saying? And La Bruja, you know, she had heard my verse, and I think something happened where like something opened up where she's like, you know what, you know what I mean? Like we're all in there, and I'm happy that she was comfortable enough to like just be like, yo, fuck it, this is not the 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 woman that's, you know, the typical gender role where the woman has to be like a certain what's the word, like reserved a little bit about it. She's like in your face, this is what it is, you could call me a slut, I don't care, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I love that about her. And I also, she wanted to sing on that hook, so you could hear like the harmonies in the back, and that's her, because she's so multi-talented. And yeah, I was just so happy because this is the first song I've done with La Bruja, and you know, I'm a big fan of what she does, man. She's a dope artist, dope poet, and dope rapper, singer.
Yeah, and like she was also like extremely I felt like I embodied a certain sort of maturity, and I think I kind of want to like touch on that a little more, especially in terms of how we feel like all of this music we're talking about, the content getting packaged in the mainstream, that it's a product. It's also something that seems to be a product for a level of maturity that is deliberately kept at a certain level, you know. And like I feel like they're only going to be interested in certain aspects, in certain topics, or they will only cover it from certain angles. And even the kind of like songs lately that have been like examples of sex positivity or like, you know, expression, etc., they still tend to be at a very like kind of catering to an audience that's kind of, you know what I'm saying, like they don't want you to think beyond a certain level of like they don't want you to I hate to use the word grow up in this respect, but in a kind of way that seems to be the attitude. And in a way they kind of like try to tire the audience out from like listening to music itself, because anytime you think of a person like talk about a new song that's like scandalous or salacious, the first thing that that the go-to is like, oh, what has happened to culture and music these days. That's the kind of like attitude that comes into the picture. So I feel like this is like kind of a refreshing break from all of that. But this is a completely different track now that Marcus is queuing up. So I wanted to hear what he has to say about that.
We can't hear you.
Yeah. Oh.
I'm sorry. My bad. I'm sorry. I'm muted. Going with and something like with what you're just saying is just opening up narratives and being mature about it. And if Karthik doesn't want to say it, I'll say it. It's just different from, oh hey, yeah, I'm at the club and taking whoever home, or hey, wet ass pussy, whatever. Like it's just different. You're actually talking about yeah, real interactions, and that's the thing. I think there's a place for just like, hey, we are saying these things and we are just pushing the narrative just to be extreme and have and like allow people to just literally like allow people the space to do some real things with it. But yeah, at the end of the day, there's something from like, oh hey, we're just having a good time, and versus hey, we're now talking about human relationships, right? This is no longer just a bop. We are now talking about real interactions and real relationships. But
Yeah, people act like, just to throw this in there, people act like, revolutionary minded people, or people that are out there doing the work and all that. And, they act like we don't love or have sex, or, that we don't live these human lives. It's like, yo, like, come on, man.
The opposite, yo.
Yeah,
Good
exactly.
time.
Yeah.
We free.
Exactly. For real. Exactly.
And I think what you trying to say, Marcus, too, is like beyond just hookup culture. You know what I mean? Like, even though like I'm obviously not in a traditional relationship with this conservative lady, it's like it's actually a relationship. It's just not conventional. It's like we're breaking stereotypes. By the way, talking about Bruja is talking about a relationship that's not stereotypical, but there's so many people that go through these things. Like it's like it's the tip of the iceberg. I'm sure all y'all know, like people that have very non-traditional relationships, which, and I think the title fits it. Great Strange Love, because love is kind of strange. You know what I'm saying? And we vulgarize love in the society into like something that's not really realistic, and so to the detriment of some people. That's why people like Kevin Samuel, you know what I'm saying, are so big, because it's like you can see the disconnect between like certain people with their idea what idealized love is, and now we're talking about men of value and women that want this and that, and it's just like, yo, all that stuff is not realistic, and that's probably why there's such a disconnect between all of us. It's time to realize that, yo, we're complex, nuanced people, and everything's not black and white, and it's not just the traditional men, woman, and they're together and they're monogamous and this and that. No, there's a lot of things that goes down in this world, man. It's like, let's not act like why aren't y'all not talking about it like we are?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, like the next song that we wanted to play it sounds like it's immediately, since it's following Strange Love and it's called like Devil Fruit. It sounds like it's also going to be steamy, but it's actually not. It's a song about how like your politics stands out. And because of the title, I couldn't but help like think about the nations that the United States basically continuously assaults the sovereignty of like South and Central American nations. Like regardless of how globalized the industry is, like hip hop is like all over the world. Marcus and I were talking about how on the one hand the mainstream is hip hop in pop music, but on the other hand, all solidarity movements around the world, all struggles seem to kind of take up hip hop as like the form of expression of their struggles. So kind of like speak a little bit about how, despite the globalization, the industry, like on the one hand, has its politics so centered on America, but on the other hand, like hip hop is like, and it's the form of international struggle, and that's like a nice like dichotomy, which I was like reminded by the song. It doesn't like topically necessarily always talk about that, but the kind of vibe that I got from it, especially the part that I kind of picked out. Marcus, you want to play it, and then we'll talk about it a little bit?
Yep.
Collapsologists, by now y'all should know my politics. Pollinate your college rep for clean air and oxygen. These dudes dumb. Every day I'm getting new funds. Me and Nej bust back to back like two guns.
Yeah, so radical, you couldn't even fathom what the average do, let alone what we bring. It's a Dragon Ball G thing, introduce you to encrypted wisdom. That king and queen swing, scattering all you parasites and roaches while you feeding.
We treat them.
Every time I like listen to this, like I gotta like take a breath and say like, God damn. But once again showcasing just like how both of y'all like, and like I mean Karthik said at the beginning, it's like two rappers, one flow, where like I don't know, it's just this continuous, I don't know. I didn't even tweet it. Assault on the status quo that you guys are able to bounce between. But yeah, can you talk about the song? Yeah, and literally just lay it out there like, hey, y'all know who we are.
Right. What is Poe? Oh, there you are. You was froze for me.
Yo, my computer turned off. Am I in?
Oh yeah.
Nah, my fault. My computer just shut down. My fault.
Oh no, you're good.
Like I would just start off by saying, because you were talking about how people all over the world use hip hop, as a message, for the struggle, as a message to uprise. I mean, that's what hip hop came from, you know what I'm saying? And like people know that, if they really like hip hop, if they love hip hop, they know the roots of hip hop. And it's really important to know that, because what it came from is still what it is. Just because the industry and all these people exploit it and do all that, you can't erase that culture and that legacy, you know what I'm saying? And people all over the world, I mean, hip hop has gone so far, so people all over the world, they know that, they feel that, you know what I'm saying, that hip hop gives you the opportunity to be what you would want to be, what you would want to see. I mean, you could go up on stage wearing a cape and say you a superhero and you're gonna save your people and all that, and it's gonna be fine. You can't do that in all, like, in all genres, really. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's totally acceptable because it's what it was built off of. You know what I mean? And like, yeah, we were speaking on that. Like, look, you know what we about. You know what I'm saying? Like we here and we about this culture, and yeah, we coming at it radically. Like, people ask me all the time, oh, so you're left, right, blah blah blah. I mean, they probably wouldn't think I was right, but I'd be like, look, I'm radical, you know what I'm saying? And if anything, you could just call me far over there, right, or some shit. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, I feel like that energy was coming out on that song, and that the title was the attention getter. Like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? You're going to get something steamy, but in a different way. You know what I mean? Like that radical, like kind of radical steam, like just hitting you with that knowledge and that culture, that struggle that hip hop comes from, that everybody now around the world, can tap into. That's a beautiful thing.
And I think also it's like in hip hop in America mirrors, like, I think it's in this late stage capitalism phase of hip hop in America, you know what I mean? Whereas, and it's I see it starting to go there in France, but there's other places where it's still kind of like a baby, or it's still like a teenager. So you still have that free spirit that we fell in love with, the fun. Right. And rest in peace, Biz Markie, because he embodied that free spirit and everything like that, which
for real.
It's not the same now. It's like the free spirit is mixed with a lot of drug use, is mixed with a lot of just straight stupidity, when before it was just about rocking the party and having fun. And I think that we're challenging that. We're challenging a lot of stereotypes and challenging a lot of norms, and with a certain aesthetic that we want to be like, yo, we could do this and sound dope, but like if you really dig deeper and listen to what we're saying, like we don't stand for that, and we shun that, and that's not how we don't think it's fun. We think like fun for us is different, and I don't want to come back to strange love, but like you said, like yeah, we have sex, we do this, we do that, we party, we do the same things, and we might take acid or whatever. I'm not I'm just saying my thing is that my point being, I'm losing myself a little bit, but my point being is that we're challenging a lot of these stereotypes that come with hip hop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And showing y'all like you could be dope and but not have to follow that mold that's like we've seen over and over again. How many times are you gonna repackage the same artist, the same archetype? There's like there's like 3 or 4 archetypes of what a rapper should be like. You know what I mean? And there's probably one archetype of how a female rapper could be like. You know what I'm saying? There used to be
Right.
more, but now
Right.
it's just the stripper. You know what I mean? And but
Right.
before there used to be the Latifah, there used to be all types of MC Light and everything. Now it's like reduced down. I'm not saying that other MCs are not doing anything, but same thing with the male archetype. You got to be a gangbanger. You got to be that street dude, or you got to be that melancholic, taking Xannies, all day type. And it's like, like we don't fit these archetypes at all, man. Like, you know what I mean?
Mm. Like it's crazy that this is the last track or one of the last tracks, but I thought that you would probably have to begin with something called a manifesto, and like the whole album will like kind of give you pointers from that. But it seems more like because it's like I don't know if it was deliberately supposed to be like the one of the closing tracks, but it seems like it's almost like you organically synthesized this manifesto, and in a way that's kind of how it is shaped up. Like the whole album kind of leads up to it, and it's like the result of the collaboration rather than like the whole, like you said, like you didn't have a plan at the beginning, you didn't have a manifesto at the beginning, but in the end you seem to have arrived at one. And I thought that it's kind of cool that it's not, I mean, it's blank, called manifesto, like point blank, and it's just like straight up talking about, I felt like the vision that you feel like revolutionary art should have. Or I kind of felt like, you kind of spoke for the both of us, so I'll have Marcus also tell you what he felt about the track. uh, because like I also felt like there were aspects of, like, for example, points on the manifesto that seem almost like abstract and very poetic and poignant. But then there were also things that are like just boom boom, like straight to the point. And I thought that was like a nice mix in reminding people that like you're still listening to art. It's still not like just a pure political statement. But I still appreciated hearing, like many different sides to this manifesto. Marcus, what did you think about the manifesto?
Well,
Can
and
we
that's
like adopt it?
yeah, and that's where like I don't know, like part of it's like remembering that like this is art for the like, and like not that you make your music only for leftists to listen to, right? But like this is art for like the left can enjoy, but like still remembering that it is it is art. And like if you just literally opened up some type of theory book and then like just made rhyming words, and like that wouldn't be good. That wouldn't be like good music. Like you got to just make what you're gonna make with the spirit that you have and that you're coming from. And that's where it's like you just like enjoy this, and where this is something that like supplements, like this is literally just the music that I think is yeah, it's good for me to enjoy while I live my life in the way that I see fit. And like Napoleon even said earlier, it's like you're not inundating yourself with the stuff that you eventually start saying like, I think differently about women now that I listen to these songs over and over and over and over and over again, which like you can just look at what that feeds into in the greater sense of the misogynistic world. And yeah, and how they like maybe I can listen to some other things, but that's honestly too is like where I just enjoy the fact that it's like I know that I'm listening to people with good politics, and that's where I get my trust, right? Is like I know I can pop on any track and it's gonna be dope.
like a track like Manifesto kind of like totally nails it for the listener, because you are stating, you know, straight up what you're all about, and like and you're upfront about it. And I don't think you would ever hear a person in the mainstream be as upfront, or at least even if they put out something like this, it would probably not be, it would be a front, you know, like it wouldn't really be like what they really believe, but more like a publicity curated, like some PR statement. But in this case, you are like literally kind of, it feels like you're saying what's in your soul. I again, like, this is one more thing that I kind of, it's just 2 minutes long, so I just like thought we could just like hear in the full, because it's the whole manifesto, and I don't know if you would just like play a part of it.
Oh yeah.
But I'd love to hear it.
At this stage, all we know is survival. Y'all done threw the kitchen sink at us, and we still here. And there's no way you can stop us either. It's already too late.
You little rapper, sugar-coated and preposterous. I'm a living, breathing manifesto, read it in my optics. Using what I got since breath was blown into my nostrils. Got the Milky Way inside me, the knowledge to unlock this. Every flag should be flipped around, how dare we ever rock it? Replace it with a black fist, write El Pueblo upon it. The power belongs to the people, it's time for us to flaunt it. What are we waiting for? Earth is burning up regardless. Talking from a sunken place, I'm not that kind of artist. I'm the stone flower that cracked the sword, even at its hardest. Let me tell you something, my reach is equipped to go the farthest. Real status depends on what you give, not who lives the largest. Earned degrees in universities, still not the smartest. Can't study struggle with no action plan to seeds to harvest. Nefertiti crown 3/4 down, some call it modest. Protect my jewels, I ain't talking accessories or garments.
Truth to power spoken, manifesto of the people and bring us food, bring back guillotines for the evil men. We taking back our lands, taking back our sands, making trees grow. Today is when the money switches hands. Crab City where rappers stab your back to get litty. Down in a 6-pack, got my 6-pack looking shitty. That's facts. A Millie grew a beard like the cats in Philly. Family life is silly, gotta get stacks back on the smitty. When the bills are high and money drop, it becomes a funny vibe. When you pop and they your friends, when you're not, they running high. Camry hybrid with a gun inside, in case they wanna slide for proletaires. You know the bullet's there, in case you wanna die. Daily pressure with anxiety, moments are rarely precious. Money low and fridges empty, people taking scary measures, violating the very tenets of the 10 commandments. Cause of the mechanics of this side of the planet is tight to manage. People vanish, organ traders on the market in the darkness, morale demolished. It doesn't pay to live so honest, the masses starving. Most of these oligarchs is heartless, I never beg for no pardon. When speaking of power, we stay bombarded. Truth to power spoken, manifesto of the people and bring us food, bring back guillotines for the evil men. We taking back our lands, taking back our sands, making trees grow. Today is when the money switches hands.
And I think Napoleon might have dropped out again. It looks like.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he'll be back. He probably
Yeah.
trying to get on now. You know what? On, that's crazy, because we were speaking about before how, you know, when you're working with other artists, you gotta kind of like that. You know, there's a lot of ego involved sometimes with all that, and you gotta be able to talk to each other and not feel like, you know what I'm saying, offended or whatever like that. I love that hook in Manifesto, and Napoleon wrote that hook. I think I started this, and you know, and I sent it to him with a hook, but he was like, you know, I think this hook might be better for this, because like what I was saying kind of like was already being said. And I was like, all right, you know, no doubt, yeah, let's rock with it. Same thing with like Wild Rice. Like I was like, it was named something else, and I was like, yo, what you think about calling it Wild Rice? He was like, dope. Like it's really, you know, you got to be able to kind of like work with each other like that. And that song kind of reminded me of that, you know. And obviously it's not a 10-point program, you know, a 10-point platform, you know what I mean? But it's still, in my mind, it still reflected the personal, the political, and the professional, you know. And to me, I always have a manifesto going on in my life that I'm looking at or adding to, or you know, it's a living, breathing manifesto that I'm trying to, you know, things I'm trying to do within those, like those 3 P's, you know what I'm saying? So it's like that was my my vision with that. And then he came in with his verse, and you know, that hook was perfect. And it's like, even the vibe of it, like I feel what you're saying, like it's very artistic politically, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it was special for that reason.
And I guess, and before we wrap it up, I did have a question about the album art, and I mean, Napoleon had mentioned earlier about him being, the anime fan and everything like that. But I mean, like the album art, yeah, I mean, like, I don't know, like, I didn't know if that was already from a cartoon or something like that. You had, commissioned an artist or anything like that, what kind
Yeah,
of
I
work?
know Napoleon could probably speak on that more than I could, but I know that it's from Demon Slayer, I think it's called. It's like the brother and sister who are like out to slay the demons, and it's kind of like it really went perfectly with what our project was and what we are to each other and the worlds, and just what we represent and what we wanted to put forth in all this, the energy of that. Um, I thought it was really fierce, and yeah, it was fan art. It was art that a fan did for that program, and Richard, may he rise in power, got permission to use it for our
Word,
cover.
word.
We had another artist do the rest of the cover and stuff, the back and all that. And then actually Napoleon flipped the art a little bit so that we could press up CDs. So it was really collaborative as far as like all the art went. But that cover, it was very specific to that,
That's what's up.
that Demon Slayer vibe, yo.
The Demon
Yeah.
Slayer, and that's like the thing
Know
is,
what
like,
it is.
I feel like the album, like, it very much, for me, it's like, it's like, a few things. One, it's like a whole critique on, the industry in a lot of ways. All right, there he is. He's back. Um, it is yeah, very much a critique on the industry. It is very much
My
a
shit is fucked up.
oh, Napoleon,
We
you
can
hear
hear
us?
you, though.
Hello, Napoleon, you good?
Hey, yo.
I think something fell down.
Oh, I don't know. Um, I don't know what's going on.
Could y'all hear me?
Okay. Yeah, we can hear you now.
Well, you can't see me, but I'm here.
Word. No, you're good.
We was just talking about the cover, Poe. You got anything to say about the cover? I was talking about the Demon Slayer brother and sister, the fan art. I
Right.
said you probably could speak more on it though, but I hit it a little bit.
Well, yeah, I mean, basically it was as Richard Dreisen, rest in peace, his idea. You know what I mean? That he commissioned. I think the artist's name is Jasmel or Joel or something like that, and he had the idea to do it like anime style and everything, and he had a different idea at the beginning, and that was the second idea, and he was in love with it, and we were in love with it when we seen it, and we were like, yo, it fits the mood, and I'm all about that anime stuff, so it was just a welcome. Like we was happy, we just felt like it was right for it,
Or
Yeah. Well, I don't know, Karthik, did you have anything else before? I know that you're on a timeline, so I want to make sure I respect that. But yeah, did you have anything else for him?
I mean, I think that like I just wanted to say that I absolutely every single opportunity that I have to listen to either of you, I take the opportunity. Any new work that you put out, I mean, like ever since I got introduced to Napoleon, I've been like pretty much following every album that he's been putting out. And there's like there's an echo and stuff like that right now, I think.
it's all good. Yeah,
think-
man, I appreciate that. I was I think it's dope that we got to connect to, what I'm saying, through like my work with Napoleon, and I got like a couple new albums coming out, what I'm saying? So we could do something in September, like we were saying, like that would be a perfect time too, when some new joints, that I'm, and and Napoleon's on it. I always
Awesome.
try to get him on my projects. We love doing that. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's some things to look forward to. But That's so dope. And I was introduced to you because I seen the video of you rocking to Calculated Strike, and I was like, oh, who is this? I was like, this is so dope. I love that kind of stuff. And yeah, ever since then, and I looked into what you guys are about, and like you already know. You know what I'm saying? You already know.
And Napoleon, are you there? Or I don't know if Napoleon is gone. Hello, I see him there, but I don't know. But either way, mad respect. Yeah. He's
mad respect, through all the the matrix levels, the matrix levels, trying to. You know what I mean?
They're trying to shut us down. When you say too much real shit, they'll always try and shut you down. But yeah, really, I appreciate you coming on, and I'm very excited to actually speak. In September, a few months when we get everything lined up. Because as excited as we are for anything new that you're making, very much excited to also speak on a lot of the music you already had made. And I even talked about a little bit about, I can't remember what track it is, but you rhyme like the whole verse with ovarian. And I was like, and like that's where too is like, this isn't just like, oh hey, it's like it was a hell of a fucking verse. And it's like so it's like this like thing where you are using you're flipping the perspective and doing somebody like not just no shit impressive things with hip hop. And it just doesn't have to be necessarily like, oh hey, it's not Nejma's a good rapper for a woman. Like no, like
right.
You want fucking bars, go to Nejma.
Word.
And that's
I
it.
appreciate that, because that for a woman stuff,
horse shit. It's bullshit.
You know what I mean?
I was actually, if I wanted to like have a sort of closing statement from a like literary standpoint, I feel like both of you, in the way that you are writing your verses, Napoleon's like consistently writing it at a certain level of syllables. Like let's say every verse of his has like 10 syllables. It's like more or less around the same line. But I love how like when you write, and I don't know if this has like anything to do with what, but like the syllable length of each line in the verse changes, and that creates like an interesting kind of like different form of free flowing rhythm, which in Napoleon's case, it's like very consistent. It's like a rhythm guitar, as opposed to like when you're rapping, it kind of has more like lead qualities, which I thought were very, I'm also looking at it from like a perspective of someone who plays more like plays an instrument than anything else. So I also like hear a little bit of how Napoleon is kind of like keeping more of the rhythm stuff going, and you are able to occasionally like step into more of like a lead role. I don't mean that like as like you're leading the conversation, but like you're actually contributing to the melodies and stuff like that every now and then, which I think is what makes you like such a strong duo, because you're able to complement each other, as you pointed out rightly before.
Right. Yeah, I didn't always used to do that. It really kind of evolved. My flow evolved. And I think a lot of it really has to do with my work with the Afro Yaki Music Collective. I don't know if you know about them or my work with them, but I'm a core member. There's like 7 of us, but many people come in and out from all over the world, different instruments, and they're basically a revolutionary big band. Y'all should check them out. You would feel it. They just dropped not too long ago, Maroon Futures, which I'm definitely on that. And they're very, I really think you would love their content and just their work in general. I've done so much movement work with them. They're like my comrades. They are, you know what I mean? And so working with them, like they don't give me like 4/4 beats. It's very rare that we'll do something like that. I'm rhyming over like 13/8 or some crazy stuff like that. You know what I mean? And it really opened my flow. And I like to say when I work with them, it's like my Gil Scott heroin flow, you know?
Yeah, okay.
And they inspired me so much that when I'm doing that with them, when I went back on the 4/4 hip hop beats, like it makes it just, I had this other fluctuation all of a sudden, because I would decide what instrument I wanted to flow with when I'm on stage with them, and then I would change it. So it's like, I didn't plan that, you know what I'm saying? But I really love that that happens, and I noticed it too. And I was like, oh my, this kind of switched it up. I kind of That's cool, like, you know what I'm saying? So that's a big part of it. That's a big part of it.
That's what's up, and thank you for the reference. We'll definitely check them out, and and like that's like kind of what we were hoping is that we'd always be able to build and build and um hopefully make those connections and everything like that. Um,
Yeah, y'all will definitely love what they doing for sure.
word, word, word. Well, thank you. That's gonna wrap it for the latest episode of Revolutionary Tracks. Thank you, Nejma Nefertiti and Napoleon the Legend, even
But
though you're lost in cyberspace right now. But I'm sure we'll see you
he
again.
he made it almost all the way through, yo.
Yeah, it's
Almost.
close.
Look, I got his back. I got his back. That's what we do. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Yo, I appreciate y'all though, man. This gave me energy, and that's when that happens, it's a good thing. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel depleted. I feel fulfilled.
We appreciate it. No, and I mean, we're happy to, we come at things we're just trying to be real. Like, what do people actually want to talk about with, with artists, and what do they actually enjoy? So yeah, we appreciate you saying that. And thank you so much for coming on. And we're
Thank
definitely got you back. You already said it. It's on video. You can't, no take backsies.
you.
So
Nah, we don't do that. Nah, I enjoyed this, and yeah, we'll definitely be in touch and stay connected. And I look forward to seeing more of your guys' work. And you know what I mean? Hit me up anytime if you want to bounce ideas off or whatever. I'm here.
absolutely. All right. Well, audience, I'm gonna send you over to TYT. We got a comrade that is doing his own show, Bleep on Ben. So please enjoy, and we will see you later.